Hey, Dream Chasers, this is Amy J, your personal hype man and friend here today to thank you guys for tuning in to episode 243 of Chasing Dreams. Today, guys, I have an amazing Dream Chaser for you for Women's History Month. To honor it, we are bringing you Rochelle Gapere. She's an attorney, happiness coach, and entrepreneur, known for bringing her charismatic personality and sheer joy for living to every experience and individual she encounters. Rochelle has mastered the art of fully living life passionately and to the most. The release of her Amazon best-selling book, One Happy Thought at a Time, 30 Days to a Happier You, cements her lifelong practice of adding more happiness to this world by empowering others with science-based tools and techniques that help them lead happier, more fulfilling lives. I am so excited for you guys to meet Rochelle. I read her book, I couldn't put it down, and I just saw myself in it. And I thought it was important that she come onto the show to share what she taught and the lessons she's learned to help you guys as you chase your dreams. And now, here's Rochelle.
Hi, this is Rochelle Gapere, the author of the book, One Happy Thought at a Time, 30 Days to a Happier You. And you're listening to Chasing Dreams with Amy J.
What's to redo?
Perfect. Let's keep it.
Let's go. All right. Hey, Rochelle, welcome to the show.
Hi, Amy. Thank you so much for having me.
You know, it wasn't really a question. It was getting the logistics to work because I found your book through an interview you did with my brother, Stephen Hart from Trailblazers. As you know, we had an amazing conversation. And he mentioned this book, and I was like, what is this book? And Stephen's a good eye for good people and good books to read. So I was like, okay, let me get this book. Let me see what it's about. I devoured your book. I gotta tell you, I had a hard time. This is what it was. I felt like you took your experiences from my brain. And
you're making me blush.
Every time I think people think that our experiences are unique to us. So when I'm reading it, I'm like, well, wait a minute. How is Rochelle going through exactly what I went through? How is she feeling the things I was feeling? How is she in my head the way you were? And guys, the link to the book will be in the show notes. So definitely check it out. I highly recommend it. It's worth it. And we're going to be talking about this book and things I think you need as someone chasing your dreams. All right. So this is why I brought Rochelle on the show, because she's got the knowledge and wherewithal, and we got to talk about it. But before I can get to that, Rochelle, what did young Rochelle want to be when she grew up?
I wanted to be an attorney my whole life. I don't remember ever wanting to be anything else but an attorney. As long as I could remember 3, 4, 5, 8, 10. What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a lawyer. I want to be an attorney. Yep.
Do you know why? Like what?
I guess because one, I used to always like to talk a lot. And to be fair, one of my favorite uncles, my Uncle Mark, he was an attorney. I used to like to talk a lot. I used to like to advocate on behalf of people, especially the underdog. I was always a person in elementary school. In Jamaica, we call it prep school, who if anybody had a problem, they would come to me and I would go to fix it. So I always had a passion for helping people, fighting for the underdog. And so I guess that's what awakened that passion or that dream of being an attorney for me. Yeah.
Not many people come in with such conviction about what they want to do. So now looking back, any regrets about going down the path? Was it what you wanted to be?
This is a perfect question because I always wanted to be an attorney until I went to my first year of law school. Then I thought, well, absolutely, this isn't what my calling is. I realized I love to learn. I was extremely curious. I loved the law, like learning about it, but the actual practice of law, it wasn't my thing. And to be fair, I graduated a semester early from college, and I worked at my aunt's law firm at the time, and she was a partner at the firm. It was a big international firm. And I remember I would show up every day and everybody was just so unhappy. They just had like very groggy like energy, and I was showing up in like pink and blue and yellow, and I was bouncing off the walls, and I'm like, good morning, hi, and they're looking at me like, okay, what is wrong with this girl? So that that experience was necessary because when I went to law school, I knew big law was not for me. However, when I started law school, I really, I was just like, okay, well, this is not what I love. I can't imagine myself doing this forever. But at that point, I was 21 years old and had no other idea what I could do. And, the thought of starting law school and dropping out or not finishing it, it didn't even occur to me because in my mind, you finish what you start and you do it well.
And it's funny, guys, because I can attest. I went to law school and...
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Have that in common. I technically am still a lawyer.
Me too.
I'm still licensed and all, but I don't practice.
I still practice.
Hey.
I'm trying to get where you are, Amy.
But I mean, I do have a day job. But the thing is law school is exactly as you described it. It's eye-opening. Mm-hmm. You realize, hey, this isn't exactly what you expected. And I got to tell you, TV does not accurately portray the legal life, right?
Girl, not at all. Complete delusion. And I am very clear about anybody who asks me, listen, I've actually saved quite a few people from going to law school, taking up, all these loans for no reason. I tell them, listen, explore what you are passionate about. Go and sit in some law school classes. See if it's something that you even enjoy or want to do. Meet with a lot of attorneys across a lot of industries so you can have an idea if it's something you want to do or if it's something you think you want to do. That's a huge difference.
It really is. And I got to say that I thought I loved my law school experience. I loved the education. I loved what I did, right? Negotiating. I loved that kind of thing. It's the six-figure debt I could have done without, right? I mean, I could have done without that part and taken that education happily and been like, yeah, this was awesome. I could feel like I could do anything. But I got to admit, I was up in the air with, should I have done law school or should I have done an MBA? Like, people tend to do that. What was that feeling for you?
So, you know what? Like all along, I don't know that I'm older. I wonder if an MBA would have been a better fit for me. However, I really don't have any regrets per se because law has opened up so many doors for me. So what I mean by that is, when I graduated from law school, I started an event marketing company here in Miami called Social Esquire. And so anytime I would go to meet with people to use venues, once they heard that I was an attorney, they were more willing to work with me. There's a certain level of respect and esteem that comes with having that law degree. And so even now as a happiness coach, when I was about to be, when I started the journey 3 years ago, so many people are like, that's ridiculous. Why are you, who teaches people how to be happy? And more people were willing to listen and that, accept or even entertain what I'm saying because I'm an attorney. So they're like, okay, an attorney who is teaching people how to be happy. Let me hear this. It sounds like an oxymoron, but let me dig deeper. And so no, I actually work with bar associations to teach attorneys how to have more happy, fulfilling lives. I got an award from the Florida Bar for the happiness work that I'm doing in the legal field. And so it's full circle. I realize that there are truly no mistakes if you learn the lesson in the experience. So would I say maybe I would have not gone to law school if I could do my life over, but then in the same breath, I'm like, but law school has also opened so many doors for me. So yeah.
100%. I mean, I'm not saying I regret law school. I think the reason I can look at paperwork myself, I don't have to hire certain people. There's something
exactly
right. Get somebody who wants to deal with all the forms and things, but the confidence I have to take care of my own paperwork, if necessary, as a businessman, is something I wouldn't trade because I think it saved me money in that sense. But
absolutely, I would have done it cheaper. Yes. That's what I would have done. I would have done it differently. So I would have probably gone to University of Florida instead of going to University of Miami. You know what I mean? I would have just been smarter about the financial aspect of it. Yeah.
But there is a pedigree to it. You're not wrong. There is a pedigree with the word attorney. Whether you're practicing or not, you're still an attorney. It's just people seem to, and I don't know what it is because it's not like you're bringing your attorney skill to teach and speak, but your other skill, but it's like gets you your foot in the door.
Yeah. I think there's certain professions that just have certain esteems about it. So an attorney is one, a judge, of course, is one, a doctor is one. There are just some things it's just like, okay, well, if you could get through law school, pass the bar, you have to be smart somewhat. People looking on really believe that. So yeah, it definitely has its perks. I didn't expect to be practicing law this long. This is now going to be my 15th year. Oh, no, my 16th year. This May, May 15, will make, 16 years. Wow. Yeah, it's been a journey, but it's been great,
Yeah, I bet. And the thing is that you've been on this journey, you've done it. What's interesting is not many people equate, like you said, from your experience, happiness with attorneys, or even just, right? Attorneys are actually, attorneys, doctors, dentists, I believe, are some of the highest, the professions with the highest rate of suicide, unfortunately, depression and stress, et cetera, et cetera. So when you say you're a happiness coach, one, I'm like, as an attorney?
Yes.
All those attorneys need it. Attorneys need it.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about how this came about, right? So you fulfilled your dream of becoming a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
You're living your life. You're an attorney, right? Things should be good. Why become a happiness coach? Where did that even come from?
Okay. So to be fair, once I graduated from law school and I started working, there was always a gnawing sensation or knowing that wasn't my calling, that it was never enough. So the event marketing company, it filled that void for a while. And then my business partners, life happened, they got married, they had children, and we just weren't doing events as much anymore. So there was a lull, maybe like a year or two, where it's just like law only, and that voice just kept getting louder and louder. There's more, there has to be more, this can't be my life. And so I really started like digging deep, like, okay, what could I do? What should I be doing? What would really fulfill me with passion every single morning? And in the midst of seeking that answer, I was in a long-term relationship and the relationship ended. And I was really, really disappointed because of that. And it's interesting because in that same period, I was actually helping my partner at the time live out his dreams, fulfill his purpose. And I almost like attached myself to his dreams and goals. And for a while that was okay. But once the relationship just really got uncomfortable and it ended, I was just stuck like, okay, now what? Know him to hitch my wagon to just me at law, now what, right? And so during that period, I remember asking God, like, why? Like, why did you put me on this earth? And if you tell me what it is, I will go at it full force, right? And so when we broke up, I remember I would see friends. We had a lot of mutual friends in common. And when they would see me, they would always ask, like, how are you doing? And it was kind of laced with some kind of pity, and I was very like, okay, well, the relationship ended. I'm sad. I'm very disappointed. However, like, the one area of my life being bad does not mean my entire life is bad. I still have a job. I still have my health, And so along the way, people kept saying, your perspective is so refreshing. And I was just like, really? It's refreshing that I'm choosing myself, choosing my joy. And so people would say, you should write a book. You should write a book. And I knew I was going to write a book at one point in my life. I just didn't know it would have been so soon. And so I started thinking, what is it about me that's so predisposed to optimism? Why am I going through this really heartbreaking experience at 35 years old? It was the hardest decision I had to make, but I had perspective. And so as people kept saying, write the book, I had an aha moment. I was just like, well, maybe this is what I need to write about. Maybe I need to put my experience down on paper. So that was how it kind of started. And so I was doing little things to motivate myself, whether it was my own quotes. And I always journal, always. I've been journaling since I was 17 years old. And I started sharing some of the quotes on social media. And when I would share it, people would say, oh my God, I feel like you read my journal today. I feel like you heard a conversation with my best friend. And I would share them every day and would just say, happiness is. Because I really was trying to hold on to my joy at that time. My happiness levels had plummeted. My whole life, I've probably existed on the happiness scale 1 to 10. I've existed at an 8 to 10. First time ever, I'm at a 4, I'm at a 5, I'm at a 6. I'm just clinging to my joy, girl, clinging to it, but also sharing with people. And so as I am putting that energy out in the world, people are giving me the energy back to build that confidence, right? And so I started writing. I went to my job. I asked for a sabbatical. On the sabbatical, I went to Oxford for 2 months. A best friend of mine was there, started writing, decided that I loved learning about happiness so much. I wanted to find out if there were any like positive psychology classes. I'm a psychology major in undergrad, became certified in positive psychology. And yeah, people started reaching out to me to talk on podcasts. Amy, the whole thing has just been so mind-blowing that from heartbreak and rejection, I was able to discover my true purpose and my true calling. And so, yeah, that's how the whole happiness coaching thing came about in a nutshell. Yeah.
Let me ask something, because that's an incredible story. From the moment you finished becoming an attorney, right? Pass the bar, do all that, to this unfortunate event of heartbreak. Mm-hmm. Then you had a nagging feeling like something was missing. How much time between the two?
Oh, so that was, I graduated in 2005 and I didn't come into my purpose until 2017. So that's 12 years. And I'm so happy you really highlighted that, because so many people think you have to figure it out immediately. And so all the things that I went through from 2005 all the way to 2017, when I was in Oxford discovering myself, I published a book in 2018. Everything I went through actually was necessary for that moment, because planning the events helped me plan my women's empowerment event. Every single season in your life is absolutely necessary. You may not realize it when you're living in the season, but once you look back through that rearview mirror, you see how all the dots have been connected. And my favorite Bible verse is Romans 8:28. All things are working together for good. And in the toughest, hardest seasons, you're like, Lord, how is this working together for my good? That's crazy. I'm 35. I'm by myself trying to figure out my life. I have it all planned out. I know this. That's not working together for my good. Yeah. 5 years later, I am here to testify. It has all worked together for my good. Yeah.
And the thing is, and the point that you make is, a lot of times people think if it has to happen immediately, but the other thing is people think that they missed the window. And it's so heartbreaking when you hear that, because they're like, that's it. It's over. I can never be that 8 to 10 scale that you were talking about.
Yeah.
That means life is always going to be lived at a 6 or a 7. I can't get there. It's too late, right? I mean, how many times have people, and maybe you've experienced it because you've been in my head, so it's possible, that people come in like, so when are you going to get married? When are you going to have kids? That's when life happens. That's when you'll be happy. You're living less than right now. Mm-hmm. You're not married. You're not dating. You're not doing all these things. And so when we talk about this, it's like, I think people have the wrong idea or definition for happiness. Like and you talk about this, and I forget what chapter it was, about postponing happiness. Mm-hmm. And so I say all this to say, I want to talk about that, because you say it so well, because I think a lot of people who are listening to this podcast right now are postponing their happiness for a certain set of events to happen. So where did that come from? Where did that chapter about postponing happiness come from? And can you talk a little bit about why it's important to not postpone?
So the thing about it is that people think that happiness is outside of themselves, and really it starts within, right? And so it's what you say. I'm going to be happy when I get married. I'm going to be happy when I have the baby. I'm going to be happy when I make 6 figures. But ultimately, you can have all those things, and if you aren't happy, content, and at peace with yourself, you could add all those things and nothing will change. And so the next thing I want to say is that having an abundance mindset. There is no limit to happiness. You can be happy at 5, 7, 12, 25, 93, 100. Once you are alive, you have hope. Once you have a pulse, you have possibility. So any moment you could choose that today is a day that you want to change your life, that you want to go back to school, that you want to register for that workshop. People keep waiting for this miraculous moment for everything to come together for them to start living the lives of their dreams, which is the life of your dream starts the moment you decide that, okay, I want to live the life of my dream. And the next thing that really keeps me focused is that as you're postponing your happiness, right, you are under the belief that you're going to have 2 more years on this earth or 5 more years. And just this year, I've lost 2 friends at 40 years old from cancer. 2 of them, one had 4 children and one had no children, but just got married. And so the one who just got married, she lived her life so fully. And so, it hurt me so bad that she passed, but I also felt so much peace knowing that she lived full out. From the minute I met her in college, that girl has been living her life fully, always with a smile on her face. So we think that we have time, and I pray that all of us listening have 50 more years, 60 more years on this earth. But what if you don't? What if next year is your last day on this, next year, February 5th is your last day on this earth? Would it have mattered if you lost the 50 pounds, or would it have mattered if you did the half marathon? What truly matters, right? And so I like to live my life in that way. It may sound a little bit morbid, but it actually keeps me focused. Really and truly, Ro, if tomorrow were your last day on earth, would you want to spend your last day on earth doing this thing? Absolutely not. I don't want to spend my last day on earth worried, crying, wondering when I'm going to get married, wondering when I'm going to have kids. I want to spend my last day on earth soaking up all the joy and the love from the people who care about me. Because that's the only thing I have control over. That's actually the only thing we all have control over is this present moment. So we need to have that self-awareness that right now, this moment is all we have, and it's an absolute gift to be here and experience it.
First of all, I'm so sorry for the loss of your friends.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
This whole year, right, has been crazy. And I think people need to understand, if they haven't figured that out already from hearing what you just said, that life is precious.
Mm-hmm.
Way too short to be spending it on the happiness of others. And so one of the things I think people struggle with that maybe you can help them with today is, how do I know what makes me happy? Right? Because I know what people tell me will make me happy. And some of it I've tried and been like, no, that's not it. That wasn't it. And some people think that it's too late because of the position they're in. So one, how do we figure out what makes us happy?
Okay. So for one, you absolutely need to get still. You have to spend quiet time with yourself. We are living in a generation and a time where we are bombarded with so many external forces, so much outside noise. And so we don't even know what really matters to us. So mindfulness is important, meditation. If you can, when you wake up in the morning, before you roll over and pick up that phone, spend 5 to 10 minutes just being, just be still. You'll be surprised that once you start listening to your thoughts, you'll start hearing and becoming more confident about the things that matter to you. Another thing that I like to tell people is, when you're a child, there's something about that childlike wonderment and joy. In my book, I speak about the 8-year-old version of you. Tap into that person again. What did you want to be when you grew up? Remember, you just asked me that question earlier and I loved it. What did you want to be when you grew up? Think about the times in your life when you were happiest. Who were you with? What were you doing? And so that starts cluing you in to some of the things that you enjoy. So for instance, if your mom told you, turn off the lights, go to sleep, but you remember staying up and reading books, When was the last time you read a book? You know what I mean? So if you remember going to the beach with your dad and your family when you're younger and you got so excited to go to the beach, why haven't you gone to the beach? Why are you not incorporating beach trips in your life? So little things like that. If you know there is certain music that you enjoy, right? I love soca music. It makes me so happy. Why aren't you listening to the music that you enjoy? So what I would say is, in figuring out your happiness, write a happy list. Today, take some paper down, take some paper and a pen and write happy list. What makes me happy? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy am I? And be absolutely brutally honest with yourself. If you are at a 4, you are at a 4. You cannot fix what you don't confront. So it don't make sense you lying to yourself and telling your friends and your family, I'm great and I'm happy and I'm good. And then in the night, you're crying on your pillow, feeling all unhappy and disappointed about where life has taken you. So the minute that you can be honest to yourself about how you're truly feeling, that's when you are able now to start on the journey. And you may need to get support. You may need a happiness coach. You may need to go to therapy. You may need to go to YouTube and Google happiness videos, happiness thoughts, happiness speeches. You may need to buy my book. Just do the things that you can in your power right now to help you become a better version of yourself. The information is out there, but you will not be able to seek the information or find the answers unless you get completely honest with yourself about where you are currently.
I got to call out 2 observations.
Yeah.
One, the quote you said, you can't
fix what you don't confront.
Yes, that was it. You cannot fix what you don't confront.
Exactly.
The other one is, in everything you said, you didn't bring a third party into it. In everything you said, you didn't bring someone else into it. It was all about you. And everybody listening, I want you to hear that, because I think sometimes we rely on other people to make us happy. Mm. And it's a struggle when they don't. And I think that causes trouble and friction, right? It's the spouse who'll make me happy. My kids will make me happy. Other people will make me happy. But I don't remember you saying anything about other people in what you said. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. Listen, we're all on our own journey. And so that is putting too much pressure on another human being who is also trying to figure themselves out. You know, how selfish of me to think that I should then go and project my unhappiness on somebody and expect them to fix it when they are going through their own life journey, their story. It's not fair. It's not fair. So as we said earlier, you know, both of us were talking off air, energy attracts. So if you realize that you're hanging around negative Nancy's and Debbie Downers, you have to also be very careful about who you're allowing to speak in your life. And you have to have healthy boundaries. What are you listening to? What are you reading? What are you watching on social media? What are you consuming? All of those things really impact how you feel. So be very mindful on a day-to-day basis about the things that you're doing and the people that you're spending your time with. You have the power. You know, your happiness is truly your responsibility. And once you take ownership of it, then you're able to cultivate a life that you really feel good in and about.
One of a quote from your book, it was day 22, that stuck out with me from what you're saying. Was a few months earlier, I decided that I was going to prune all the areas that were not bearing fruit out of my life. And that really resonated with me because I don't think we prune enough. Mm-hmm. I don't think we prune because I don't think we realize we can.
You can. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. I think people, you know, human beings, I don't think we realize how much power we have. We have so much power, but a lot of us are so stuck in our heads. And the next thing I like to tell people is people really aren't thinking about you. They're so consumed with their own lives, with their bills, with what they're going to eat for dinner, for breakfast, their jobs. People aren't thinking about you. So you're over there thinking, oh my, if I don't go to that function, or if I don't talk to that person, or if I don't do this person's going to be offended. Girl, that person is not thinking about you. They are trying to survive. They're trying to get through their days and their lives. So take the focus off the external and bring it towards yourself. And listen, people come into your life and opportunities too. Season, reason, lifetime. The worst thing to do is try to drag summer all the way into winter, then winter all the way into spring. No, seasons change, and so you have to be very understanding of that fact. Everything doesn't have to last forever. What did that person come to teach you? What did that job come to teach you? Rochelle 10 years ago is not the Rochelle today. And I'm happy that I decided that I was open to growth, because I could easily have just stayed stuck in the 10 years ago Rochelle, but then I would have missed out on the magic of this Rochelle. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think there's something to be said about boxes that we put ourselves in and traditions that we hold to, because I think sometimes it makes us small. From growing outside of who we can be. Right. And, I mean, imagine if this is all we think we could be. One, we're not giving God the credit he deserves, right, to blow us up. But also, I think we're doing ourselves a disservice, right? So I can only imagine what we're missing out on if you hadn't gone through that experience, if you hadn't had the revelation of writing this book and sharing your experiences. I told you off the air, I felt like you were inside my head. We may have had it at different points, at different reasons, but both had feelings of loss, of happiness, of that empty feeling of what was going on. Mine was at age of 26.
Wow.
And didn't really get filled in till later in my 30s. And so, right, we all feel like, we feel like, I think that we're special.
Yeah.
And we are, but we're not at the same time.
Yeah.
So for the people that you work with and the people that you talk to, how do you get them to kind of take that stand, that realization? Is there a way to get them to see it?
So I honestly, we are all fearfully, wonderfully made. We're all miracles. We are all special. There is no doubt about it. But what I will say is that there's nothing that you will go through, have gone through, that another human being has not. There's 7.6 billion people in this world. And so, people like to say there are really no new experiences per se. If you ask your grandma, did your friend go through heartbreak? Yup. When she was 25, did you worry about having kids? Yup. So we have similar experiences. What I will say though is that vulnerability is bravery. So the more that we are able to speak up about our experiences, we give permission to others to speak about theirs. So the thing is what you said. I wrote this book telling the world really about what I've gone through. And then you were able to say, whoa, aha moment, I went through that too. So what I would task my clients, audiences that I speak to is, you're not alone. One, you're not alone. Two, share. Not with everybody, but with the right people. You'll be surprised what people are going through. And there's something about community, which is why I'm huge on testimonies, because a first-hand testimony is powerful. If I could walk away from a relationship at 35 and be heartbroken and confused about what was next, and I could turn that lemon into a margarita, let's say, then so can you. I am no more special in that way than anybody else. It just depends on how you view things. Or thoughts have power. Are you going to look on it as the glass half full, the glass half empty, or are you going to realize that I have a glass and it's refillable? And so it's all about your perspective. So one, you are absolutely not alone. There's nothing that you should be ashamed of. Own your story. Your story is necessary. And I give you permission today to share it, to own it, and stand in its truth and in its power. Because it's so empowering once you realize I am who I am. Everything I went through made me me. And I am not a mistake. I may have made mistakes, but I am not a mistake. None of us are a mistake, right? And so now that we know better, we do better and we have self-compassion. Don't beat yourself up for the things that you didn't know when you didn't know it. I can't use 39-year-old Rochelle's wisdom on 30-year-old Rochelle. And trust me, there are a couple times I'll be like, oh, I wish I'd just known better at 30. I just wish I'd known. I wouldn't have wasted so much time. But really and truly, the only reason why I can say that is because I've lived these 9 years and I've had these experiences. So be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself.
Absolutely. And in talking about perspectives, so I turned 40 last year.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. And happy birthday to you, because as of this airing, your birthday was a week ago.
Yes. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. What was it like, turning this age, and then kind of what were your expectations? I think as we get older, as I hit 40, I was looking back, and maybe because it's a milestone, I was thinking, what have I achieved? What have I not? What does that mean? And I think 38-year-old Amy at the time would have been like, oh, Lord, this is not good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a failure in so many other people's plans, and been distressed by it. Whereas today I'm like, life is good. Life is blessed, right? But for you, when you were going through that, right, you had a life-changing experience at 35. Here you are about to hit a milestone, or hitting that milestone. What was that like for you?
So, to be completely honest, I knew one of the things that would have given me anxiety and angst was the fertility issue, because that was the thing that almost kept me stuck at 35 was the fertility issue. If I move on, am I going to be able to have kids? Am I going to miss the window? And that was such an important thing for me, right? So in October last year, I went and I froze my eggs. So I believe that within my power, I was going to do the things that could alleviate the stress or the angst of turning 40. Funny enough, February rolled around, and all of a sudden I just started feeling like, okay, what does this mean? Like, what does my life stand for? Like, have I done enough? I started thinking about legacy. And I remember for the first couple of days, I was really being hard on myself and wondering, when am I going to have kids? And when am I going to meet the right person? And is it going to happen? And eventually I just had to stop and really focus on the fact that I am exactly where I need to be. And I just started filling myself up with the stories, the success stories of women 40 older who fulfill their dreams of getting married and having children. And I just decided that I am enough. I am enough exactly as I am. Me, myself, and I. Without kids, without a husband, I am enough. And that's fine, because I can't change anything. I can't make a husband. I can't make a man. You know what I mean? I just decided focus my energy on the things I have control over, which is my joy, my peace, my happiness, and that's it, staying healthy. And so now I'm even more committed to eating well and taking my vitamins so I can live a long, healthy, happy life. And that when I do have children, which I know I will have children, I will be a healthy mom and I will have the energy. So I'm just focusing on the things I have control over as opposed to the things that I don't, because that's where the whole dissatisfaction with life happens, in that gray area of losing focus on the things that you have, which you should be grateful for, and then where you want to be. And I'm just like, you know what? Let me just focus my energy on where I am, which is all I have control over.
It's such a cycle, right? Because even for yourself as a happiness coach, I know some people looking outside in would be like, she's got it all. She's figured out the formula. She's a happiness coach. And I think it's important that people understand that it takes work. Even for all of us, it takes work to do this, to understand that even if you miss the window, there are ways. There are options. It may not be the ideal one. It may not be the popular one. It may not be the one that's on TV.
Exactly.
But there are ways. And, so it's good to hear, right? It kind of normalizes the experience, and people are like, hey, your guest, that was amazing. I'm like, remember, she's just like you. You listening guys, we're like one another.
Yeah, we are. We are. And life, you know what, to Amy, life doesn't have to be linear. We don't have to have, oh, it all figured out. It doesn't take anything away from it if it happens in a different way. If option A doesn't work, it doesn't mean that option B and option W or option P won't be even more incredible, and so be open to the magic of the universe. Sometimes we hold so closely on our plans, which I know I did that before. But if my plans had worked out how I imagined, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. I wouldn't be living the life of my dreams, waking up every day, inspiring people to live the life of their dreams. And so I am grateful for closed doors, which is why now I am like, okay, God, universe, bring it on. Surprise me. I am open to all the goodness, because my little plan that I had 5 years ago is nothing in comparison to where I am right now. So don't look on things not happening your way as a bad thing. And I think people always think the worst case scenario, but there is the opposite, the best case scenario. Just as much as the bad thing can happen, the good thing can happen too. So start rewiring your brain for the best case scenario. And you absolutely can, because our happiness, scientifically proven, 50% of our happiness is based on our genetics. 10 is on our life circumstances, for instance, COVID right now. And 40% is based on our habits. So what are your habits? What are your daily habits? Are they setting you up for success, for happiness? What is your prescription for happiness? Write it. Start working on it today. What makes you happy, and start doing it more often than not, but also leave some room for serendipity and for magic. Because trust me, life will surprise you if you will just open your heart to all the goodness that it has to offer.
Absolutely. 100%. And guys, that's a perfect segue for our time to be intentional. Hold on. Let's go. It's time to be intentional. All right. We talked about habits. We've talked about so many different things and cycles and happiness and how it's in our control. Bro, we got to talk about what is one thing that what is the most common mistake that dream chasers make when chasing their dream?
Fear. Fear holds us hostage. And fear, it's not that fear is a bad thing, because you need to be fearful in some instances to protect yourself, right? But I think sometimes we will overthink things, the fear of failure, the fear of not being good enough. And so what I will say to counteract that is to have faith in the outcome, to have faith in yourself, to believe that you have the skills. And I'll say this, success leaves clues. There are 7.6 billion people in the world. There's somebody who is doing something similar to what you would want to do in Australia, in New Zealand, in China, in Japan, somewhere in the world. Go on the internet, research, and you'll be surprised, and just start. We don't have to have it all figured out. Small wins also give you momentum for big wins. So just start. Stop trying to talk yourself out of your goals and dreams. I don't care if it is the most minute thing that you can do today. Just get started, because just that little tiny win will give you the confidence to say, okay, if I could get through that, then what else can I do? So don't succumb to fear, use it to propel you. Like, okay, I'm fearful of this thing, but okay, what if I fail? Did I die? Will I die? You probably won't. I'm almost sure you won't. So just get going. Have faith in yourself. Have faith in your abilities. And every single successful person you have ever seen, let me tell you, they've all had fear. They've all had to overcome it. We're all human beings. I was fearful to put my book out in the world. Who is going to buy it? But people bought it. So your gifts will make room for you, but you just have to start. You just have to start.
So that you may already answer the next question, which is, what is one action these guys can do today to chase their dreams?
Start. Just start. Look, go, use the internet, use social media for your benefit. Use it to inspire you. There's nothing different from you and the woman who is now the $1 billion brand, right? The difference is that she believed in herself. She decided to be determined and to just not take no for an answer. And so people are so used to looking on the success story, but not digging deeper to see what people did to get where they are. And so I said it earlier, it took me 12 years to uncover and unleash my passion. You don't have to figure it out overnight. There is no quote unquote overnight success. Do the work, believe in yourself, but I will say it again, you just have to start. You must start. Actually, today, you are going to start. The book, write one sentence. Write one sentence every day this week. You don't need to write a chapter. Write one sentence. That's it. If you want to lose 10 pounds, go outside and walk 3 minutes. You could do that. You could do a 3-minute walk. Break down your goals in bite-sized pieces and let's go. We have big lives to live, y'all. We are not playing small anymore. We are chasing our dreams and we are gonna win at life.
There you go, guys. I can't say it better. She didn't even make you walk 5 minutes. She said 3 minutes, y'all.
Anybody can do 3 minutes.
Come on now. Rochelle, this has been an amazing conversation. How can these guys connect with you and learn if they want to learn more? Where can they find you?
So I'm on all social media platforms at Rochelle Gapere, my name, Rochelle Gapere, and my website, Rochelle Gapere, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And I love hearing from people. I love getting direct messages. I want to hear how my message resonated with you. But more importantly, I want to hear how you are living out your dreams and what you have done to start implementing the joy in your life. So keep me posted. I'm excited and I'm cheering for you.
Guys, the link to her book will be in the show notes. I highly recommend you check it out. It's a Kindle paperback. Go read it. She has a journal that accompanies it also, so you can get that. But I highly recommend it because there are lessons in there that resonated with me so much that first thing I told you, I think, was you were in my head.
Yes. And I was blushing. You filled my little heart up with so much joy.
You will be in your head as well. Read the book, make a change, just start. You won't regret it. Rochelle, thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me, Amy. God bless you.
There you have it, guys. That was Rochelle Gapere. Was I right? I'm telling you, it's amazing what she has done, the lessons she's learned. And that was just from this episode. You guys definitely have to check out her book because the lessons she's taught will help you get further in your dream chase. And if you can't do that, do one thing she said. Start writing your happy list, right? Don't let fear stop you. Use it today. Start today and take things a small piece at a time. Bite-sized chunks, okay? Just start. So wanted to share that with you. If you missed it, there was a lot of nuggets of wisdom being dropped today. So check it out. Go listen to the episode again or check out the show notes over at amyj21.com/episode 243. That's episode 243. All right, Dream Chasers, until next time, remember, don't stop. Keep chasing.